Hello, my name is Meerah and I'm a Lorekeeper in one of Yogg-Sothoth's libraries. And today I wanted to tell you the story of the Maegu class from Black Desert. Maegu, or Go-un, and her sister were born in the year 3937, 25th under Yongjong's reign, second month, 29th day. Yun was born first. This was a day where neither sun nor moon saw fit to grace the sky, and it had been foretold that if the king and the queen had one child, it would be a prince, but if she had two children, they would be princesses. Due to her weakening condition, the king foresaw that his children could possibly be born on that day with no moon or sun. About a month later, the king would speak to his minister, Ikyun, who was also his father-in-law, to talk about how the children were not blessed by the gods, and that a calamity would strike their community if the children were spared. He ordered his minister to destroy all records of the queen becoming pregnant and giving birth, but Ikyun begged him to reconsider, as the princesses are still the king's children and the minister's grandchildren. The king agrees and tells the minister that the only place left for the children to go would be Hwadam's Wudo school, where they could grow up and train and live their lives despite their apparent curse. Hwadam, anointed of the king, sought an audience before his royal majesty. A dough wielder of the Wudo school asked unto Hwadam, twins born on a day shunned by both sun and moon, "Wherever did you find these children, O master of religious rites?" After a brief moment of silence, the Hwadam responded, "They are my daughters. Do not utter another word on this matter." And so Hwadam adopted Go-un and Go-hyun. One spring day with plum blossoms in full bloom, the Hwadam relayed teachings upon the twins. Sit with appropriate care, calm your lips and eyes, and extend your ears to the rumblings of your heart. The younger twin, Hyun, upon enlightenment, found Do to be like pure winter and calm water, while the elder twin, Un, remained distracted, unable to proceed any further in her studies. One summer day, with the orchids shyly in bloom, a dough-wielding acquaintance of the Hwadam addressed the younger twin. "You are a vessel vast enough to hold all," and expressed great amazement. Gazing upon the older twin, he would say, "You have a face that would attract many a spirit," and expressed great admiration as well. Alike in appearance, yet one is a cracked vessel and the other a fox doomed to wander alone in the flowers. Hearing this, the elder sister, stood abruptly, yelling, "Cracked? I'll show you cracked!" Hwadam immediately began assuaging her upset guest. One fall day, with chrysanthemums strewn from heavy showers, a dough wielder urgently sought an audience with the Hwadam. "The elder sister has left the Wudo grounds," they said. Hwadam blows away a tiger butterfly perched upon the dough wielder's shoulder. "Tell me what happened." The dough wielder shook their head. The twins quarreled furiously. Hyun was injured and is being tended to by a physician. As the elder twin was leaving, Hyun relayed the following words to her parting sister: "The way of Do lies on but a single path." Yet this message, retold, did not register to the Hwadam's ear. One winter day, with snow piled upon the bamboo forests, the Jwado sage Gildong was worrying over the elder twin Un. "Once the moon rises tonight, you will never be able to return to your former self. Are you sure you wish to do this?" Un, gently caressing the fox spirit, drew a butterfly in the snow-covered field with her flower leaf charm. "If I was concerned with the price I shall pay in the afterlife, I would have never set foot in the Jwado school to begin with. For this is the way of Do set before me." In her young adulthood, Go-un the Maegu has risen to the status of High Menorah of the Jwado school. She hears words of a blackstone trade being made and interferes to steal it, but she finds her sister Go-hyun, the Wusa, there first. The twins fight and Maegu snatches the blackstone. The advisor, who is facilitating the trade of the blackstone, then reveals himself to be a nine-tailed fox. The twins fight the fox, who is later revealed to be Kumi-yun, the fox goddess. And Maegu, or Un, manages to escape with the blackstone in the end. After they return to their respective schools, Yun brags to her fellow Jwado member, Brother Jin, about how shocked her sister was to see her. A younger member burst into the room to tell Yun and Brother Jin that the test subject, the one they've been experimenting on with blackstones, has started convulsing. Jin and Yun go to check out the subject, and Yun casts an incantation to draw out the black spirit that has been cultivated in the test subject. Maegu is surprised to see that a black spirit actually exists, and Jin comments on how the Odukshini, beings that once called the land of the morning light home, have been thriving under different names across the Megoria Sea. While we aren't told for sure, it is implied that at this point Maegu invites the black spirit into her. At this point, the truth of their birth is revealed to both Wusa and Maegu. They are princesses and their surname is Go. Shortly after that, the girls receive an invitation to travel across the sea to Balanos and meet a person named Lesra. I assume to get more information about the Blackstones and Odukshini, but it's not really specifically told to us. The girls have to travel together on a boat to Balanos, and they bicker as usual. Maegu calls Wusa a fraud, and Wusa, who has a huge ego and a big anger management issue, uses Stormfall and ends up sinking their boat. Luckily, they were close enough to land that they were able to make it to the shore using their dope arts. For 10 years, Maegu wanders the mainland with her Black Spirit, until we come to the events of her Secession questline. Her Black Spirit points out that a mysterious sound inside of her, like that of a fox crying, is being heard, and so she goes to Tarif to ask around if anyone has any advice. The chief of Tarif advises Maegu that she needs a spirit jar. But the same young sorceress from the Wusa Secession questline is the one who bought the last spirit jar from Iman the blacksmith. Maegu puts her hands on the jar and a fox spirit comes forth and speaks to her. She talks to the fox spirit, who seems hurt that they haven't spoken in so long, and who calls out her uncharacteristic behaviors. The fox spirit says that recovering their power is the most important thing, and that certain parts of the pact that binds them were broken because of the White Witch Elezra. The fox says that they intend to break the ties that are currently binding them in order to forge a new, more functional pact with Maegu. The fox tasks her with amassing profane energy to form these ties with. Once she collects enough, Elezra appears and gives you a more stable source for the pact, in return for fighting one of her shadows. Once Maegu defeats Elezra's shadow, she gets her pact with her fox spirit all settled, and her powers are back to their fullest. A short time passes before the events of her Awakening questline. It begins with Maegu receiving a letter to meet at a location in Medea. When she arrives, her sister the Wusa is also there, presumably having received a letter of her own. Hyun, or Wusa, recognizes her as a member of the Dwado school and fights her. Their fight, however, is interrupted by Ku Miyun, a heavenly fox spirit that followed the sisters across the sea. She says they haven't changed a bit, but realizes that they don't recognize her, and explains that when she was present for the Blackstone trade back in the land Light, she had disguised herself as her sister, Kumi Hyun. Fox Goddess recognizes that they've lost their memories, and so she restores them, commenting that their Odukshini, or black spirits, must really be something to be able to erase their memories like that. She also says that she has left a gift for the two sisters in Hasra ruins. After remembering her past and her relationship with the Wusa, Maegu talks and they bicker, as they always have, before heading to Hasra to see what gift the fox spirit could have possibly left for them. After fighting their way to the deepest parts of Hasra, Maegu finds her old fan from when she was a part of the Wudo school and picks it up. The sisters must then work together to open a door to another realm. Going through the door, they arrive in a place known as Shinhyong. This is said to be one of the resting places of the gods, and there they see the masters of their respective schools, Hwadam of the Wudo school and Gildong of the Dwado school, playing a game of Baduk. The Heavenly Fox also appears and tells the masters that the two sisters are spitting images of them when they were younger, always fighting. The two masters explain to the sisters that the way of Do is but a single path, and that once they tried to duel to the death, but were visited by fate and enlightened, and realized that they had nothing to fight about because their goals were actually the same. The masters ask the fox spirit to teach their pupils a lesson in exchange for some rare Dale wine. The fox agrees and tells the girls sometimes the winding path is faster than the rocky slope, but you two only see the mountain straight ahead, and then challenges them to a fight to the death. Two girls fight together against the fox, but they are beaten down. She asks the fox goddess why she can't beat her, and Miyun says it's because Maegu blames herself, and that those lacking self-reflection cannot win against her. It's at this point that Maegu sees her Wudo fan and hears her father's voice, who tells her that the crack in her vessel is leaking her power, and that once it is filled, power will be without equal. He is referring to the crack from when she was young and had a falling out with the Wudos. It clearly hurt her self-worth, as she picks up her fan and realizes she has to go back to her roots if she wants to truly find Do. Miyun attacks her, but Maegu counters it this time, and it is at this point that time freezes for a moment, and the revered fox spirit appears to tell Un that she will always be beside her, watching over her, and that she is happy Un finally met her inner self. By accepting herself, Maegu has completed her bond with the revered fox spirit, and can now wield the sacred fox fire with her fans. Wusa and Maegu use their newfound powers to defeat the Heavenly Fox, who congratulates them by saying, "What a mess you've made." Just like in Wusa's quest, Maigu's old master Gildong helps her train a little before she is then allowed to speak to everyone present. He explains that after the Blackstone incident, the relations between the Wudo and Dwado school worsened to the point that he and Hwadam had to fight one-on-one, but they came to that realization that they were both actually trying to reach the same goal. So they studied each other's paths in order to bring themselves closer to enlightenment, and Gildong says that they wanted to do the same for the sisters. When we talk to Kumi Yun, we actually do ask her if she's supposed to be dead. Because in the Land of the Morning Light main story quest, there is an entire book dedicated to Miyun's sister, the nine-tailed fox or Gumiho, Kumi Hyun, who, along with Miyun's son and husband, believe that she is dead. The Heavenly Fox basically says that even if a fox spirit's body dies, they don't actually die, and that she has actually ascended to the point where death means nothing. Miyun makes us promise not to tell anyone we saw her. Maegu talks to Hwadam and says she still doesn't trust him, and he understands that it would take a lot for her to forgive him, but that he missed her and that she's welcome to return to the Wudo school anytime. Megu's conversation with Wusa goes about the same as in Wusa's awakening. Wusa's just kind of a stubborn jerk and talks down to Maegu per usual. And that's it! Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time here in the library.